is Boxing Nation. Boxing Nation.
If you're doing good, they got something to say. If you're doing bad, they got something to say. So, do what makes you happy. Because you see this jet, you see this private jet that we own? I got it because I did what the I wanted to do. I made over $1 billion, you know why? Because I did what the I wanted to do.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Okay, so it is finally official. Jaron Ennis will be returning to the ring October 11th against Uisma Lima. He's from Angola. He's 14-1. He's never been knocked out before. And by looking at his record, he's been fighting against a lot of undefeated fighters. So this is who Jaron is fighting against next. But at the end of the day, regardless of who his opponent is for his very next fight, making his debut at 154, it's pretty much academic because we know who Jaron is going to target after this fight. He's going after all of the top guys. In fact, if you guys didn't notice, the clips that I played at the beginning of this video, those were the clips and the images that Jaron Ennis has shared in his post. He shares an image of Jason Voorhees, which obviously means he's coming for everybody at 154. He also shows the rankings and where he's ranked by the WBC, the WBA, and the WBO. As you guys can see right here, Boots, he's ranked number 1 by the WBC, which means there's a very good chance that Jaron's next fight will be against Virgil Ortiz, assuming Virgil wins his next fight. And it also means the walls are closing in on Sebastian Fundora, meaning he's no longer going to be able to hold that belt hostage. Eventually, he's going to have to fight against the number 1 contender. I mean, remember, he already vacated his other belt to avoid Xander Zayas. Let's see if he's going to drop this belt as well. I can guarantee you when Jaron gets these belts, he ain't going to be dropping none of the belts to avoid no number 1 contender. Which leads me to my next point. Of course, there's going to be race fans trying to berate and discredit Jaron Ennis because he's not fighting against Virgil Ortiz or one of the other champions in his very first fight. But the truth is, these race fans, they really didn't want to see that. They don't want to see Jaron go after the best guy, and especially don't want to see him go after them and beat them. Remember, these are the same fans who criticized Jaron Ennis when he decided not to move up to 154 when he was offered to fight Virgil Ortiz back in February. Right? But then when there was news that Jaron Ennis was going to fight against Virgil Ortiz next, then all of a sudden those same fans, they said, oh, well, Virgil Ortiz, he ain't got no belt. How come he ain't fighting against Murder's Ali at first? They don't want to see any of these fights if it involves Jaron Ennis because they're afraid that he might beat these guys. All of this criticizing Jaron for who he fights at his very first fight at the new weight class is just a distraction. Because we know these fans, they never cared who Virgil Ortiz was fighting. They didn't care who Virgil fought when he first moved to 154. They didn't care who he was fighting at 147. Just like they didn't care when Fundora turned down a Terrence Crawford fight and then he vacated his belt to avoid Xander Zayas. They didn't care who Teofimo was going to fight when he first moved up to 140. They didn't care when he fought against Steve Claggett. So we know what time it is. But when it comes to Jaron Ennis, once again, he's fighting October 11th. He's going to be fighting in Philly. It's going to be a packed house with at least 10,000 fans. The main thing fans want to see is how Jaron Ennis is going to look at the new weight class. Is he going to look as explosive, as dominant as he looked at 147? And if he does, he's going to be a serious problem at 154. I want to see if he's going to be able to knock this guy out. This guy, he's never been knocked out before. And once again, he's been in the ring with a lot of undefeated fighters. Now, there were a lot of fighters that got offered the Jaron Ennis fight, and they actually turned it down. In fact, Jesus Ramos is one of those fighters that was offered the Jaron Ennis fight, and for whatever reason, he turned it down. You know, when I listen to the way some of these race fans talk when it comes to who Jaron Ennis is going to fight in his very first fight, and even though it seems to me like they acknowledge deep down that Jaron is going to go after the top guys, but they're saying, oh, but why he didn't do it in his very first fight? And we all know that as soon as it gets announced that Jaron is fighting against Ortiz or Murder Zaliev or Fedor or whoever it is, those fans are going to go completely quiet. They're not going to be excited about the news at all, because this is exactly the way it was when it was announced that Floyd Mayweather was fighting Manny Pacquiao. Man, I remember hearing the news and being so excited, right? And I uploaded my video, I reported the news. You go to the comment section, none of the race fans, there was almost no non-black fans in the comment section. The only people that showed their excitement in the comment section were Black American fans. And then later on, the race fans, they would come out and they would start making excuses for why they know that Floyd Mayweather is going to beat Manny Pacquiao, trying to discredit the win before he even gets it. Which explained why they weren't happy when it was announced, when the fight was announced. Because they knew all along how good Floyd Mayweather was, and they knew he was most likely going to win the fight. So the only way these race fans would be happy hearing a Jaron Ennis versus Ortiz or someone else at the top of the weight class, one of those fights is announced, they're only going to be happy if Jaron looks terrible in his first fight at 154. If he looks extremely beatable, then they're going to feel more comfortable and they're going to be happy that that fight gets made. It's just like Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. If you guys remember, when that fight was announced, the race fans didn't want to see that fight. They were already calling Devin Haney a cherry picker. Why you not fighting against Shakur? Why you not fighting against Javante, et cetera, et cetera? This is what they were saying. They didn't want to watch Haney versus Ryan Garcia because they felt if Ryan Garcia couldn't beat Javante Tank Davis, he has no chance of beating Devin Haney. But once they seen how the fight played out, at least before we found out that Ryan Garcia cheated, then they were all okay to see a rematch, because they knew now, oh, Ryan, he has a chance. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Jaron is going to look at the new weight class. For the longest, the super welterweight division has been a segregated weight class, ever since the former undisputed champion Jermell Charlo vacated all of his belts. So while Jermell was the last fighter to go after all of the belts at 154, let's see if Jaron Ennis is next. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Will it be hard for you now, after performing at this elite level and accomplishing everything that you wanted to go and make mandatory defenses that are going to cost you a lot of money and sanctioning fees for defending all 4 titles?
Well, I have a great management team. If I gotta, do what I gotta do, I gotta do what I gotta do if I want to continue to box. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really hate on I can't really worry about what sanctioning fees are. I get paid great, and I gotta pay me even more for the shit like this. You know what I'm saying? I made history tonight. I'm becoming Nobody has ever been undisputed champion at 154 with 4-belt era. Plus, I'm African American. I represent my people. For the ones that don't really believe that, shout out my mom. I heard you.
Jamel, Muhammad Mubarak with the Electronic Urban Report. We are a black publication. I write a column called Ringside Update, and I want to know, how do you feel about, at the end of this fight, the big crowd, the people behind it? You made it a great fight. You made it one of the greatest fights in history. I want to tip my hat to you and leave it off. How do you feel now?
I feel like I really accomplished something like very, very important, like very, very major, something that's gonna stand for a very long time. Just every time they think about, I feel like I made it to a Hall of Fame level. As I know, hating ass ESPN ain't gonna tell me to believe this, but I made it to a very, very strong pedestal in my career. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that, like, I get to call the shots, I get to do what I do, and who knows what's next for me in boxing. You know what I'm saying? I listen to my coach. We're gonna stick to the game plan, stay back in the training because we know we got mandatories, bro. When you become the top tier like this, you got all these sanctions. Everybody number one. Everybody want a shot at the title, and it's looking good. But I'm busy. They gotta fight each other. They gotta fight each other. I'm busy.
Thank you for putting on a great performance.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, the fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.